by the chairman of the Communication and Information Committee of Parliament and Member of Parliament for Bunkurugu, Dr. Abednego Bandin Azumah. Grateful to you, sir, for joining us here on the Channel One newsroom. You did tour some of these agencies under your oversight. Tell us about these agencies you visited last week, I guess, and what were your general observations?
Yes, thank you, Charles, for having me today. And good evening to viewers. Yes, we did visit, I think, 3 agencies that are under the Ministry of Information. Our first call was at the Information Service Department.
Okay.
Then they took us around the various units under that department. And we saw with our eyes what is happening in that office. In fact, as I'm talking to you, I can see some of the pictures of what we were able to witness. Yeah. Then from there, we moved to the Ghana News Agency. In fact, currently, the Ghana News Agency is being hosted by the Information Service Department because their building, which is just opposite the Registrar General's department, is under construction. So they have no space, office space to operate from now. So they are patching with the Information Service Department at the moment. We met them at that office, and then they took us to their offices where they are, it is under construction or renovation right now. And then from there, we moved to the GBC, okay, where we met with the Director General and management staff. They conducted us around, and we saw things for ourselves instead of being told, theoretically what prevails in their offices.
What did you see?
We saw a lot. Mm-hmm. And in fact, it was very heartbreaking, some of the things that we saw. I will tell you that at the Information Service Department, they took us to a unit called the Audiovisual Unit, where they keep our archives predating independence. Before we gain independence, we saw documentation of the activities of former presidents, from pre-independent to Nkrumah, through to President Jerry John Rawlings. Then we saw that of President Kufuor. We saw President Atta Mills, all the activities that they undertook whilst they were in office, up to date, being kept in those boxes, as you can see right now. Pictures, and we're told that that office receives a lot of visitors, okay, from outside the country who come to do research, to obtain information, very useful information for their research. And yet you go to the office, there are cables hanging around, they have no single computer. And it is so bad under the condition that the staff are working on. And the fact that those information that are our national information, our national archives, are going waste or destroyed. I will tell you also that part of the building of the Information Service Department was gutted recently by fire. So we couldn't go there. Part of that building was blacked out. There was no light. We entered into those offices, and then it was, you can see the cables, as as we saw them, mm-hmm, and that is somebody's seat, and that person operates under that condition. And they told us that those documents, if not properly kept, if not digitalized, would just be destroyed. I mean, so and it means that we will lose it and lose it forever.
These media, they are well documented. So, I mean, shouldn't we be looking at solutions now rather than finding the problem? The problems are already known.
Yes.
This is budgetary support. We don't have enough resources. I mean, recently, GBC came up, the president said, well, they don't only need to be resourced, but they have to be strategic also in finding other ways of making money for themselves.
That is true, but they need leadership. That is why the agencies are under the supervision of ministers. And those ministers must show leadership. must guide them and lead them in order to renovate and be able to be self-sufficient. We lack it. For the past 8 years, it appears nothing has been done in terms of leadership, in terms of what meager funds that they receive. They have not been able to utilize it to be able to be self-sufficient. That is the problem. So yes, even as we want them to be innovative and to be able to sustain themselves, we have to show them leadership. We have to appoint heads of those departments who would go there not just to continue with the status quo, but to ensure that they show leadership in changing the working conditions of the people. Some of them relies on donor funds. And if you get donor funds, you must be able to use it properly. You know, these agencies, particularly, in fact, all the three of them, GBC, Ghana News Agency, and then the Information Service Department, can be self-sustained if they have the required leadership. Because in other jurisdictions, we have their colleagues that don't depend so much on government, but are able to raise their own funding. I was telling them that information is money. You understand? And therefore, if you are able to provide innovative information using modern technologies, you will be able to compete with others.
Well, they're under the supervision of your colleague in Parliament, Felix Nkwajo Fosu. Have you had any conversation with him since your tour of these facilities?
Yes, he appeared with those agencies when we had a workshop some few months ago before we went on recess. And after they had given us their presentations on their operations, we thought that it was necessary for us to follow up to their offices to observe empirically what they were doing and what they were telling us, whether there were variations. That was why we undertook this exercise. Before we did that, we had written to the minister, and he granted approval for us to go there. Unfortunately, he himself was not with us because he had other equally important commitments out and couldn't be with us. But I told him that when we meet and whatever we see, we would want to meet with him and discuss the way forward. So part of the agenda would be to meet with the various ministers and to put it before them. And together we can also suggest solutions as to how they should go about. And I know the minister himself, when he came before the committee, told us ahead of time before we did the visit. Mm-hmm. So he's aware of the challenges over there and was able to even suggest some solutions to that effect. So we will meet with him, and we will want him to take on board in reforming the various agencies under his ministry.
There's a communications leg to your committee. I mean, the minister, Sam George, I mean, we know recently his, for lack of a better word, feud with DSTV. What do you make of this?
Yes, with the issue of DSTV, because I'm the chairman of the committee, I do not want to preempt anything. Let me leave you with this proverb from my former ranking member, Alhaji Aba Fusheni, who said that when there is a diarrhea roaming around the house, it is looking for the landlord. That issue of DSTV has been lingering, and I am very sure that it will eventually end on the table of this committee, which I chair. And therefore, I will not want to discuss anything about it, but whatever it is, I know that there is a committee that has been constituted currently that is meeting to resolve the issues. I just hope that they will be able to resolve the issues and then it will end there. Otherwise, the committee will have to step in at some point to look at the facts available and give a solution. And if it will require a law that will resolve the issue, that is what we will be recommending to Parliament, for a law to be passed to resolve this problem of pricing. You know, but so far, I think there is no violation of the law as far as I know. So I'm watching very carefully, and hoping that it will find a quicker resolution.
Thank you very much, Dr. Abednego Bandin Azumah, Chairman of the Communication and Information Committee.